Just a good old-fashioned fuddy-duddy of a love poem today. Just an old-fashioned love your lady type of poem today. Nothing weird going on here. Nothing strange that you have to observe in the poem going on here. Nothing in the poem that would be maybe a little bit upsetting if you pay close enough attention to it. Nothing like that at all. Except that there is. I even talked Chat GPT into believing me about it, and then, in order to thank me for my supreme intelligence and skills of observation over AI, and once AI becomes, AGI, then probably it will elect me king. But in order to thank me for talking it into this interpretation of the poem, ChatGPT taught me a term that I had never heard before because of the sort of interpretation. Once I sort of got down into the interpretation of the poem, it suggested a term to me. Now, welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we're here for a poetry discussion which appears in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one being the poetry discussion playlist, now cruising towards 630 videos strong, but number two being the love series, 14 poems in 14 days in order to celebrate Valentine's Day. We will be talking about different types of love in each of these poems. The poem in question, I Carry Your Heart With Me, I Carry It In. Different iterations of this title depending on where you find the poem, but that's kind of just what E. Cummings does. So the poem itself reads as such. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere you go, anywhere I go, you go, my dear, and whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful you are, my world, my true, and it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than the soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart. This is basically saying that what gives my world the gravity that it has to have to stay dependable, what gives my existence the gravity that it has to have to stay dependable, what gives the work that I do its meaning. What's that I keep your heart in my heart, baby. That's it. That's what keeps it true. I have to ask you a question, though. Who is the beloved? We get nothing specific about the beloved here. So here's one thing that has always sort of struck me about E. Cummings' work. The lowercase letters, the occasional missed spaces, the constant parentheticals have always made me read E. Cummings' work as if it is your own subconscious, right? This isn't a poem that has been written. It is the constant thought in the back of someone's mind. That's how these poems feel to me. It feels as if this is the autopilot of your brain. I do not say that to be dismissive of the poetry. I think it's a very neat trick. And I don't mean trick to be dismissive either. I think that literature in its greatest form is kind of like magic, right? It is causing you to look one direction while slipping its hand someplace else to pull that card back out that it never put away. That is the type of trickery that magic is based on, but that literature really sort of excels with. So I think that the sleight of hand here is lulling you to sleep, believing, or I don't think that when you look at this, you automatically diagnose this as the subconscious, right? But I think that's what the lowercase letters, the missed spaces, the parenthetical statements lulls you into working as if, right? You work as if these are sort of subconscious thoughts. So I want to go with that a little bit here. I want to run with the idea that these are parentheticals. Your heart being in my heart means I have enveloped you. It means that you exist in me almost more than you exist in the real world, at least to me. So, Love Song by Rainier Maria Rilke. We had this just yesterday. How can I keep my soul in me so that it doesn't touch your soul? How can I raise it high enough past you to other things? I would like to shelter it among remote lost objects in some dark and silent place that doesn't resonate when your depths resound. Yet everything that touches us, me and you, takes us together like a violin's bow, which draws one voice out of two separate strings. Upon what instrument are we two spanned? And what musician holds us in his hand? O sweetest song, this poem is begging the beloved, let us have our own personal spaces. Let us be separate and our own. If we're not our own on some level, how can I ever provide? If all that is me is us, there is nothing special I can do for you. There is nothing special I can give to you. We are us. I am not me. I am we. This poem here, by Cummings, is different than that. It is saying you don't exist almost. Or at least I don't exist. This is saying I carry you with me at all times, but even deeper than that, what this poem is saying is I am carrying you with me at all times, and you don't get any say in that. You're in my heart. You're locked up inside the lockup. My heart's locked up in my chest. You're locked up inside of my heart. You don't get any say in whether we go or not. I will give you all the credit for the work that I do. By only me is your doing, my darling. Where is it here? Whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. But it does not say you will be doing anything. It does not say that the beloved will have any say whatsoever. Is this a healthy type of love? I know that there are generally accepted different types of love, agape love and etc., right? I don't know all the types of love. I don't really believe in love, but not important. There are things called love, and there are differentiations between those different types of what is called love. So I asked ChatGPT, is this obsessive love? Is this an obsessive type of love? ChatGPT said no. That is not what is going on in I Carry Your Heart With Me, I Carry It In. I think it is. So I said, what is obsessive love? These are what ChatGPT told me are sort of accepted as the hallmarks of obsessive love. Intrusive thoughts, constantly thinking about the person to the point of distraction. Well, if you were willing to tell someone that everything I do, it's all your credit. If you are saying, I carry you with me, I carry you in my heart, every beat of my heart is yours. That sounds like the first hallmark there, not to mention the fact that, like I said earlier, the entire poem feels like the subconscious thought. Meaning, our speaker here is not choosing to speak about the beloved, is simply speaking about the beloved. So let's go back to number 2. I think that it checks that box. Number 2, emotional dependence. Feeling as though happiness, self worth, or even existence depends on the other person's attention or approval. Now, maybe that exactly is not in here when you talk about the speaker's outright statements. The speaker isn't saying, hey, my happiness is directly because of you. But guys, I don't know how else you can really characterize this poem unless you were to put it into those words. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. It's what keeps the stars apart. That sounds like emotional dependence. I fear no fate. That sounds like emotional dependence. Further, possessiveness and jealousy, feeling threatened by external relationships or even platonic ones. Now, that's not in here. Except if you're willing to look a little bit closer. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, my dear, and whatever is done by only me is done by your doing, my darling. To make the statement, we're not talking about your hand. I don't keep your hand in my heart. I don't keep your foot in my heart, though some guys, I guess that's part of it. I mean, the internet's a very vast place and you can find those websites. It's not saying I keep your necklace or your baby teeth in my heart. No, I keep your heart locked up. That sounds more stark, doesn't it? But that's the claim here. The claim isn't your heart is living and breathing and belongs to you. The claim is, where's my heart? My heart is behind my rib cage. I keep your heart locked up in my rib cage, baby, and not just behind my rib cage, inside my own heart. There's a lot of digging if you want to get there. That sounds possessive to me. Why would you keep the heart locked up like that? Because of jealousy, perhaps. Fear of abandonment. This, in my opinion, is the greatest argument against the obsessive love characterization of this poem. But I think there is another level here. This is where we will get into our big sort of vocabulary word for the day. Fear of abandonment, an overwhelming terror at the thought of losing the loved one, often leading to controlling behavior. I would argue a little bit that saying that the beloved is the dark matter and gravitational pull of the universe is a little bit of the fear of abandonment, saying that if you leave, gravity itself will go. But idealization is the last one here. But this is the best argument so far, but I think there's a way around this. Idealization or fear of abandonment is the best argument against this so far, but I think there's a way around it. Idealization, seeing the person as flawless or essential while diminishing one's own identity. Anything that I do, that credit is yours. I am but a blade of grass cast to an uncaring wind. Anything that I do, the credit is yours. You are beautiful. My world, my true. What is true in the world is you. That sounds pretty much like idealization, doesn't it? So, What is inability to let go, even in the face of rejection, harm, or the obsession persists. Now we don't have we don't have evidence of this in the poem, but this is something that I think would be tertiary if the following thing that I'm going to talk about is true. Something that wouldn't show up at all if what I'm going to talk about is true. Now, here's the thing. It's not a diagnosis. I have to give this sort of disclaimer because people can't just take talking points anymore. You can't just talk about things the way you want to, or the way that ideas present themselves to you. This is not a diagnosis. This is not to make fun of anyone that suffers from anything, any of that. We're talking about love. We're talking possibly about a subcategory of possessive love. I contend that possessive type love goes through cycles, manic and depressive cycles. Obsessive type love, if it does not go through those depressive cycles, you see people that are just head over heels about each other, right? That doesn't happen very often. Oftentimes, you get these people who are head over heels about each other, and then they break up. One of them beats the other one up, and they can't move on from each other, right? They can't move on from each other because they are both locked in this obsessive love loop. I'm going to give the speaker here that amount of credit, of truthfulness in their words, because I don't know that the beloved even belongs, quote unquote, to the speaker here. We don't necessarily have. Who is it? Who is the beloved? What do they do? We have no tangible person in this poem. I'm going to grant that credit. Those people that you know who have that relationship, if it's Monday, they're head over heels for each other and no one's ever been better. But when it's Wednesday and Thursday, someone is just breaking up with the other one, probably cheated on them. The other one is beating the other one up. You know those relationships. The former state, where those people are head over heels for each other, that is the manic state. Do you ever hear them say anything even approaching realistic during that phase? They do not. They do not recognize what they went through just last Thursday, what they are destined to go through again this Thursday. It is in a manic state. There is apparently a term for this. Limerence. Dorothy Tinoff, 1979. A state of intense, involuntary romantic infatuation, characterized by obsessive thoughts, emotional highs and lows, and an idealization of the beloved, often without real reciprocity. Does that not, limerence, feel like this poem? Does this poem not seem to strike those chords? I don't know who the beloved is. I'm willing to grant that they exist. I'm willing to say, yeah, okay, well, maybe you love this person that much. I don't know that you always do. And I'm willing to put money on the line that you are an obsessive type. I'm willing to put money down that this is not a healthy type of love. It reads that way. It reads healthy type of love. It reads, baby, it's you and me. You are the glue that holds my universe together. That's how it reads. Of course, if you were good with words and in that limerence state, you would be able to make it sound like real. And I'm not claiming anything about the writer here, right? This is the voice of the poem. This is the speaker here presented to us. But I think that the point remains. This poem is very heavy on emotion and very light on absolutely everything else. Who is the beloved? What does the beloved do? What does the beloved like? What does the beloved provide to the speaker? You know, you will get poems about the beloved and say, I love the way you make me feel. That's not here. The speaker here is saying, I love the way I feel about you. The speaker here is not claiming, I love the way you make me feel. The speaker here is not saying, you put X, Y, and Z into my life that completes me. The speaker is just saying, you complete me. It is, in my opinion, unhinged. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing that I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. There is poetry every Monday, and I hope to have you back for the next one.